So most people know about President Eisenhower's warning. Actually, he gave in his last address about the military-industrial complex. What many people might not know, though, or realize, is he also gave a warning about the universities. Eisenhower's less famous warning: government-controlled science. Military-industrial complex, referenced in his 1961 farewell address, became part of the culture lexicon, but less well known is Ike's second warning about manipulation of academia by political interests, which would change the nature of the free university, historically the fountainhead of free ideas and scientific discovery. President Eisenhower surrounded himself with brilliant academics. He knew that science ended World War II without costing another million American lives. But by 1961, he also knew we must also be alert to the equal and opposite danger that public policy could itself become the captive of a scientific, technological elite. And as I showed in my last video with the Integrative Health Policy Consortium, what are they saying is the solution? Public policy. He worried about that government control over funding would change the nature of the free university, historically the fountainhead of free ideas and scientific discovery. And it has. If you want to find happiness in academia, find a humanities professor at a small college. Yep. If you want to find pressure, go to biology. Go to a biology lab at Johns Hopkins, which needs $300 million a year from the NIH if it's going to put up a new buildings and recruit key names who can then raise more money for the NIH. Further here, Ike was right about culture as well. A decade after his speech, academia was still politically balanced and conservatives had the most trust in academic science. But by the 1980s, they had begun to self-select for people who liked government funding. They even began to suggest that corporate, I can't see part of it because of the recording, but it goes on to say the companies who put men on the moon and developed the vaccines and antibiotics and the GMO insulin that have saved hundreds of millions of lives meant less independence. Academia meant freedom. And then it became that to be an academic, you had to be a liberal, because liberals are just smarter. That lurched into partisan politics has had repercussions. It's reality that when people know you are partisan, they trust your objectivity less, even if you are on their side. Today, only liberals retain historical high levels of trust in the impartial nature of academic science. And so even the people on the political side of academics don't trust them on food, energy, medicine, and chemicals any more than they trust corporate science or the government. As a result of seeing science subtly manipulated by government and trust among the public declining, that tide is turning again. A new generation of science academics who are starting on their third doc position and questioning the old guard's claims that corporate funding is wrong and only government is right, are critical of the claim that you can't be a scientist unless you are a liberal, and that corporate funding is bad. They realize that taxes are finite and that billions of dollars in federal government marketing. Yeah, so it goes on and on. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The point is that that's what we're looking at. That's what has been going on. That's why it's a swamp. The experts are only expert at wanting to get funding that is our money, our tax money. And then when they want to serve the World Health Organization, then what they need to be told by every politician, those that serve America anyway, I don't know if we have many that do serve America, is to go to hell. That you won't give them a dime while they're aligned with the World Health Organization. They shouldn't get a dime anyway. The very fact that they couldn't recognize any of this, but somebody like me who's just an associate degree nurse, again, I don't have all those letters after my name, but it's obvious what has happened here. And President Eisenhower said it would. And then it did. And now if this animal is allowed to, and that's what it is. It's a beast that just wants more funding, wants to control who's going to be. That's the reason nursing is in the toilet. I mean, if you work at a hospital where it's not, but I don't know anybody where it's not bad. It's only gotten worse, most especially since COVID. And they wrap up all these excuse reasons, but no, they just want to hurt America. It's always been ridiculous to get on board with a global health plan. It is. You can't, you're trying to tackle health on some big global plan. That's ridiculous. Each country, each hospital focuses on their community. That's how it used to be. That's why it was better. But ever since all of these experts went and got on board at the UN with the World Health Organization and the Nursing Council and the Medical Council, they have taken America's health into the toilet. These people should not be even given another listen to. And they're going to do everything to stay relevant. But they have monopolized everything. I mean, when American Nurses Association is controlling who will be the next executive director of the American Holistic Nurses Association, then you should realize you're living in a rigged system. It's all rigged. It's all rigged to serve the corrupt. And unfortunately, most of the corrupt are the highest of educated. But they were so higher educated they couldn't see how this wasn't a good idea. I mean, did they really just have these fancy dreams of, oh, just think of all the people we're going to cure? No, when you see that your healthcare system in America is declining, then you should have a long time ago pulled back from the World Health Organization and said, no, we're Americans. We need to focus on America. We can collaborate here and there, but to keep going forward with, because they do nursing, magnet of nursing is global now. That's absolutely ridiculous. But really that only served because magnet of nursing is all about shared governance. And that's what globalists want, is shared governance. The private sector that you don't elect is going to be your government, all through the associations. That's why they took Magnet of Nursing Global. So on their quest, as they continue forward, and you won't stop them, because socialists don't stop until they destroy everything. And that's what communists wait for. I've said it before. What communists do is they sit back and they wait for socialists who they know. They know because over and over and over and over and over again in history it happens. It may happen right away or it takes a long time depending on the size of a country. But ultimately the socialists will destroy every sector of a society, bankrupt it, tear it down. And in their quest of not even seeing the destruction that lay behind them in their wake, they end up, there's nothing left. And then that's when the communists step in. So I would say most of these people, that's why they're doing it on purpose. Because their goal at this point, they already have most nations at least under a socialist system, even America. Now they're trying to take it into a communist system. And health is a great way to do it because nobody wants to lose health care, right? But I'll tell you this much, I would be glad to lose it rather than being under a global health system.